Hi and welcome back to the Quarry garden. And it's actually dry today. It stopped raining for the first time in days. So I thought I'd take the opportunity and start building some pots and some wall baskets. And this is the first one that I've started here in the white garden. I don't have a liner for this particular wall basket, so I use a plastic bin liner just to protect the stonework on the house, and also I use it in the bottom and it'll retain the soil, stops the soil from falling through. And then I use moss that I've used on the baskets in the past, and then I quite often gather it in the Quarry garden too. Got an awful lot of moss here in a wooded garden. So what I do is I just place the moss along the front and sides of the basket, and then I just add the bedding plants. And these are violas that I'm adding. So this is the first row as such, and what I do is I just gently squeeze the bedding plant, and then I alternate it, and I just twist it into the basket and then add some more moss around it, and it's as easy as that, very easy. And if you've got a liner that comes with the basket, they normally have little slits in to push the bedding plants through, but if not, you can easily just cut slits into it and you have the same effect. So I'm going to go along and add all of those in a row, and then I'm going to add some more on the top. So all you've got at this point is you've got the front of the moss against the basket and the plug of the bedding plant pushed into the basket. Don't have any soil in yet, any compost. I haven't added that yet, and I don't do that till the end. So I'll build this all the way along to the design that I come up with. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet, but you'll see it at the end. So I'll add everything and I'll show you the end result. So that's the basket complete all the way around. Now you need to add the compost. And also, if you want to have some spring bulbs coming through next February, March, you need to add those at this point too. What I'm going to add is my star plant this time, or star plants, are 3 heathers, 3 white heathers. I think that'll give that nice white colour round here in the white garden. I may add a few of the pansies. I'll see what it looks like when I've added them. These obviously won't stay in flower too long, so I may at some point, probably around about Christmas time, I'll swap them out with possibly a spirea. I was undecided at this point what to add, but let me add these and then I'll show you the end result. That's the basket finished. Quite pleased with how it turned out. Had to add a few extra plants, 2 ivies just to spill over the side. Now they're just divisions from an ivy I already had. I just split it into 3 and I've used 1 either side. And also Brachyglottis in the top. Again, that was a plant I already had. I had taken a division of a plant from the border, and that will go back into the border in a new position later on next spring. But the rest of them are pansies, primulas, violas, and the star attraction are these 3 white heathers, which were 50% off at the garden centre. Such great deals you can get this time of year. 1 down, 1 more wall basket to go. So this is the second wall basket that I'm building up today. And I've built the fronts and the sides just like I did the last one. I have the moss pressed up against the front of the basket and I feed through the roots of the bedding plants. I've also added 3 grasses as a centerpiece on this one. This is a big basket and you can make a big impact with big baskets, and that's why I chose this rather large one. I have pansies either side, but this one's going to be a nice bright colourful basket. Obviously, you've got to try and make them as cost effective as possible. And what I do is plants that I used last season, I've potted them on and they've grown really well over the summer, so they'll go back in again. But one plant that I'm going to add this time is the star plant in the centre, is a Leucothoe, Burning Love. Now this is a stunning plant and I didn't buy it for here. I bought it to go into the border, but I'll put it in here over the winter and put it in the border probably next springtime. But this particular plant has lovely red, deep red tips to the branches, and it continues to change colour as the cold weather hits. So really looking forward to that. In the spring, its lovely new glossy green leaves will emerge and it has tiny white bell-shaped flowers. It's a very pretty plant and it looked lovely in the border, but I'm going to make use of it in here because one thing I like to add in baskets, don't just stick to bedding plants, you can add anything. They're only going to be in here for a short period of time. It'll be 6 months that this particular plant will be in here for, and it's acid loving, this plant, so it wouldn't like to be in something like this long term unless you had it in ericaceous compost. But what I'll do is short term it will be fine and it'll look lovely as the centerpiece and it'll give you that bit of wow. So let me build the basket and I'll show you it at the end. So on top of what I mentioned earlier, to what I'd added, the Leucothoe obviously, 2 Tiarellas that I already had, and I love the colour combination of the Tiarella flowers, which are just starting to come into flower and will continue to flower all through to early spring. And I love that pinky colour with the Leucothoe, and also 2 pots of Viola to give that bit of brightness either side, bit of pop of colour. And that's basically it. And how I look after it over the winter, I will water it if it's in dry weather, windy weather, I'll probably water it about once a week. Over the winter, once you get into the cold winter, I often don't water it, maybe once a month even. And that's about it. It tends to look after itself. So what I'll do in the description, I'll add in all of the plants I've used in this basket, and I'll give you a rough idea of how much I paid for it all. So let's make some pots now. So the last job today has been to make up some pots. And I'll show you one that I'm going to make up here for the white garden, and I've also made up some colourful ones which I'll show you at the end. But one thing that I do just to save money and not have to fill these full of compost every time that you use them, I just use, particularly in tall planters like this or wide ones, I just use a stack of plastic pots that you've bought your plants in and just stand it inside. And it actually takes up half of the pot and it does save on compost. Just a little tip. Plants I'm going to use for this is this evergreen, which is a new purchase, this one. This was only £6 at the garden centre. This is a conifer, only grow 10 to 15 centimetres per year. Pretty hardy, it says, and suitable for most soils. It's only going to be in this pot until next spring, and then I will repot it on at that point. It's a little bit pot bound, so I'm just going to tease the roots just a tiny bit. You can either place it at the back if you're going to have your pot against a wall, or somewhere where it's not viewed all the way around, and then you can just put your plants in the front of that, your bedding plants. Or on this instance, I'm going to add it in the middle because I'm going to have plants all the way around it because it's going to be viewed from all angles. So the plants that I've picked for this pot are these Cyclamen. These are called bedding Cyclamen. Now these aren't hardy. They won't return after the winter. In fact, sometimes they don't even last all the way through the winter if you have a harsh winter. These are not hardy cyclamen, like the Hedroflorium and Cyclamen comb. But they are nice this time of year for pots and bedding displays. They do make a nice impact, and I thought it would look nice here in the white garden. So I'm going to put one either side, just like so, and one either side of the back. Very easy to make. As you can see, just takes a few minutes. And there you go. One pot. Well, that's it for today. What I'll do, I'll give you a little tour of the pots that I made earlier, some from penstemon grasses that I had from the summer, and some which are mums that I bought at the local garden centre, just to give that splash of colour around the front of the house. So that's it. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye for now.